professional development workshop. My name is Maya Hamdallah. I'm the SAGE president. SAGE stands for Student Association of Graduate Engineers. I've noticed that a lot of you don't even know what it is as they were walking in when I asked them. So we are a student organization here to help students build a better community in the engineering department, right? We're targeting 800 students, so if you think you know enough people in the engineering department, you do not. We are 800 students. We're here to enhance the social skills and your soft skills, try to drag people out of their labs and try to make them more social. We're trying. It's taking a lot of effort. So just to say that, I'd like to introduce Paul. He's our vice president. I'd like to introduce Drew. He's our secretary. I'd like to introduce Murad. He's the activities coordinator. Reed is our department rep, and Colin at the door was our treasurer. We are always looking for people to help. We have bi-weekly meetings. If you're interested to come in and pitch a new idea, listen to what we do, try to help out, just see what's going on, you're welcome to come anytime. We have bi-weekly coffee hours, Halloween parties, and a lot of other events going on other than the festival stuff. We have a coffee hour coming up next Thursday from 2 to 3:30 at the IT building. If you would like to come, please do. Other than that, we have a Facebook page. If you could like us on Facebook, it's called Yukon Sage. That's how you're going to get informed of all the things going around in the engineering department or any other events that you might be interested to go to. So it's very nice meeting you all. I'll let Paul introduce our speaker, and thank you so much for coming.
Bob Vole is an experienced leader, trainer, and consultant specializing in leadership development, team effectiveness, and individual career management. He has provided customized coaching for executives and leaders to enhance both individual and team performance, leading to improved business results. In addition, Bob has built and delivered systematic programs focused on enhancing organization effectiveness and employee engagement, coaching, and internal career management and talent. With substantial experience in a Fortune 100 insurance and financial services organization, Bob brings sophisticated HR practice and business management expertise to each assignment. He's certified to administer Lominger's Career Architect and Voices 360, CCL's Benchmarks, Skillscope's Prospector, and CCP's MBTI. As part of an enhanced leadership development approach, Bob works with teams to improve capabilities around communication, problem solving, decision-making, and planning. Follow-up coaching sessions ensure that both individual and the team transform learning into action. Bob is also certified in career systems, international programs, Career Power, and Career Power for coaches. He uses this expertise to help individuals build and execute successful job search campaigns. As a successful leadership development professional, Bob is skilled at motivating, developing, and leading frontline, middle, and senior level leaders in delivering business results. He has successfully delivered a wide array of programs in finance, personal lines, insurance, human resources, information technology, and property causality plans. In addition to expertise developed in over 20 years in HR and talent management, Bob brings 16 years of experience in managerial and operational leadership. Gentlemen, Bob.
I'd like to meet that. Come on in, folks. Just find a seat right down here in the front row. Okay? Ask too many questions. Let me tell you a little bit about what I do now. That's kind of what I was doing. I blend a lot of that into what I currently do. Excuse me. Currently at the School of Business, working full-time MBA work. And part of my accountability is to help those MBAs go from that very rich academic environment into a professional setting. And so it's all about the job search. And I have a fundamental belief about job search. You got to be in a conversation. You've got to talk to people. And sometimes you got to talk to people you've never met before. So when I tell you, part of this is going to help you figure that out. When I say you got to go talk to people, you got to go talk to people you've never met before, what's your reaction?
Sounds good.
What?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. What other reaction? No, thank you. Yeah, that's fairly typical of our MBAs as well, not just engineers. I love engineers, by the way. Like I was telling Paul over here that I went to shut my computer down. I have like a 10-year-old ThinkPad. And it said, update, 36 updates, don't shut your computer off. I went, now what am I going to do? So I gave it 10 minutes with an update of 8 of 36. I said, oh, thank you very much, I got to get over here. I said, these are engineers, they figure it out. And sure enough, laptop was here, thumb drive was here with my presentation on it. So that's why I love you guys. You figure out how to make the world work, right? What you need to do is figure out how to tell that story. And that's the wonderful part of the conversation. It's just telling people who you are, what you're all about, what you're interested in. It's about making connections. So that's the reason that we wanted to get together today to talk about LinkedIn, because that is one of the most fabulous tools for finding people, connecting to people, and getting into a conversation. That's the purpose of LinkedIn. Whoever has the most LinkedIn connections at the end does not win. Whoever has the most conversations is the person that usually wins. All right, so very clever. I'll put together a PowerPoint presentation, but all it is a handout. I don't do typical PowerPoint presentations. I don't do typical lectures. I don't do typical workshops. I want you to feel comfortable, confident asking questions when they show up. LinkedIn, however, is fairly dynamic. So when Ida and I first started talking about doing this, I said, well, there's like 10 things I want people to do, so I put this together with 10 things. And since then, it's now grown to 14. My guess is by the time we're done here, maybe 15 will happen. By the end of the month, 20 will happen. So there's all kinds of interesting things. How many of you are currently using LinkedIn? What are you using LinkedIn for? Give me, what are you using?
Job search.
Job search. Cool. What else? What other purposes? Yeah. Networking. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
I use it to like keep in touch with the people I work with.
Yeah. Keep in touch with people. Yes.
Sometimes connect with the companies, they have some news about what they're doing.
Yeah, so you're following a particular company that you're interested in. Great. Yes.
Mine just sits there.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. So what I want people to, all of those, well, except for the last one, are good answers. And what I want people to do is be able to integrate all of this in a way that creates a compelling reason for people to want to either accept an invitation, send you an invitation, or at least be aware in their own search they're finding. There's some really interesting data out there on LinkedIn. How many of you, show of hands, are using the premium version of LinkedIn? Excellent. I hate the premium version. Why should I pay for all this cool stuff that I can get for free, right? What other questions you have before I go into these 14 things in which I'll show you some really interesting stuff that's out there on LinkedIn. What are some of your questions around LinkedIn? Anything just kind of popping in your head right now? How have you gone about building your profile, your LinkedIn presence? What are some of the things you've done? How many of you have a photograph? You got to have a picture, people. You got to put one out there, right? So I think that's one of the first things I've got in here, the first 14 things. Do you guys have formal pictures or informal pictures? Formal? Do they do a formal picture for you here in the School of Engineering? No, they don't? Oh, all right. But how did you get a more formal photograph?
It was really like a professional picture, but it was, I was at a conference, it just
Yeah.
happened that, someone took a really good picture of me and was dressed up and
Yeah.
good, so I put it up.
Perfect. That's whatever you can. I've had some friends of mine who take out their smartphone and go, that is not a good picture. And so I encourage them to change it. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Let's talk about this. 14 tips. Put up a photo. We talked about that. As you think about it, it's in many ways the profile, that page, is a lot like your resume. How many of you have a resume? How many of you have a resume you really like? Okay, some. The purpose of a resume? What's the purpose of a resume? No. But good. Thanks for playing our game. What else? Other reason? What's the purpose of a resume? Get you an interview, but get you a conversation. Right? Good resumes should intrigue the reader. They should be looking at your document and going, can this person do the work that I need to have done? Do I think this person will fit based upon what little information I have on this document? And third, how can I find out more about this person? Oh, I better call him or her up. Your LinkedIn LinkedIn profile should do the same thing. One of the things that I spend an awful lot of time talking to students about is this notion of fit. And I'm going to sidestep LinkedIn right now and talk about interviewing. Interviewing, for preparing for interviews, you got to prepare for responding to one fundamental question: why should I hire you? Now, that question gets split up 1,000 different ways, because every interview you're going to have a whole lot of questions thrown at you. But that's all they're trying to figure out, right? Why should I hire you? But embedded in that are three things. Can you do the work? Will you get along well with the other people who are here, fit in this work environment, this culture? And do I like you? Likability is huge. Right? I guarantee, I'll absolutely 100% guarantee everybody in this room is really smart. Well, with one exception. But you guys are all smart, I know that. You're engineers, right? That's a proud profession. What I want you to be able to talk about, what I want you to have come across, and LinkedIn's a great way of doing this, is the likability factor. Okay, so the second thing I have up here is a way to begin to introduce yourself is not necessarily to use a title. List your areas of expertise. List the areas that you are interested in. So some of the examples I have up here. So if you're interested in finance, use keywords like government, internal control, external, SEC. Interested in data analytics, data mining, statistics. Use keywords. Keywords are very powerful because LinkedIn serves really three purposes. One is for you to find people, to connect with people, and ultimately get into a conversation with people. It is a place and becoming more and more popular for companies to post jobs. So you can search for jobs out there. And third, it is a way for recruiters, decision makers, executives who are looking for talent, all the time, to find you. And if they're on the premium side as an employer, they pay for the service of being able to identify and look for people based upon keywords. So always load up your profile in a way that makes sense using keywords. So don't waste the space under your name by saying UConn School of Engineering. UConn School of Engineering is great. You can embed that in a lot of different places. But what are your areas of expertise? Because that's what people are going to be doing a search on. What else do we have? Oh, change your LinkedIn URL. Use it in your resume. If you look at your LinkedIn profile and you look at your contact information, you see the URL. Oftentimes it will come with a slash and a couple of letters, a slash, a few numbers, a slash, and a bunch more numbers, and it's about yay long, right? How many of you have changed your URL? A few people have. There's a way of doing that. You go into profile and you go to edit your profile. On the right-hand side, it will tell you there's a section where you can customize, and I'll show you where this stuff is. Customize your URL. LinkedIn does not like dashes or underscores, things like that, so you put first name, last name. If your first name, last name is already taken, it'll say, oh, can't use that, it's already taken. They'll give you other options. So sometimes you have last name, first name, or first initial, last name. Find something that makes sense, that indicates you. I love naming conventions. So for example, when I work with the MBAs, and they send me a resume and it says resume, I go, okay, but the first name, last name, UConn MBA, 2013 resume. Then we even get more brand marketing resume, finance resume, biomechanical engineering resume. And so you can begin to do that kind of stuff in LinkedIn as well. So naming conventions are important. Then you can, if you wanted to, you can just copy and paste that URL right into your contact information on your resume. And when you send it electronically, people can click on it. It takes you right to the public view of your LinkedIn profile. But you want to do that when you're really happy with your profile. If it's just sitting out there, who was the one that was just sitting? If it's just sitting out there, you probably don't want to do that. You want to make sure you've got a good, rich, robust profile. The other thing you can do, if you look a little bit lower in that edit function, you can actually create instead of the URL, you can create an image, a LinkedIn image that you can pop into your resume. I like the URL better, and the resume seems to make more sense. But if you get an email from me, you'll see that I have a LinkedIn logo at the bottom of my email signature. You can actually click on that and go right to my LinkedIn. Okay. So again, LinkedIn is full of very rich data. When I'm looking for people, when I'm especially when I'm trying to find alumni, I'm going to show you a really neat trick. I may have to ask the camera to go off so that I can swear everybody to secrecy, because LinkedIn cannot find this. If they find this and shut this down, I'm going to be really ticked off. I'll show you a really neat trick. But there's all kinds of interesting data on LinkedIn, especially when I'm looking for alum to try to connect our MBAs to folks. I'll go and look at somebody's profile and say, well, they got 51 connections. You go, all right, they're really not using LinkedIn very much. Oh wait, their URL still has all those squiggles next to it. They're really not using LinkedIn very much. They don't have much of a profile. So you can look at data like that and get a sense of how active a person is in LinkedIn. If they're active in LinkedIn, you've got a pretty good chance of sending an invitation and getting an accept, then begin to exchange emails back and forth and ultimately get into that conversation. So the data, I want you to be aware of the data as well. But good tip away in terms of cleaning things. Yeah, write an engaging summary. Good place to use relevant keywords. Sometimes what people do is they'll have their name, photo, they'll change the URL, and start with experience. All right, remember that likability factor? How many of you have had interviews? Have any of you, in any of the interviews, have they ever started with, well, tell me a little bit about yourself? Does that ever happen? It's about 50% of the time in interviews. How many of you are ready for that question? If I were to say, okay, everybody line up, I'm going to go one by one. Tell me about yourself. Most people go, what do I say? How do I say? But what I want people to be able to do is just talk about yourself in terms of who you are, your background, your strengths, your areas of expertise, your interests, in a way as if you were talking to me. That's one of the really neat things about LinkedIn that makes LinkedIn much different and much more effective than a resume. In resume, we use your resume speak, third person. We never use the first person, although I'm beginning to see a little bit of that leak in. In LinkedIn, I have, my background includes, I am interested in, I really enjoy, I'm passionate about. These are areas I really focus on, energized by. You can use that kind of language in LinkedIn because it's as if the person who's reading it is actually right there talking to you. So I like to see a really well-worded, well-crafted summary. I'm going to show you some examples in a bit. And again, I never want people to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was invented a long time ago. Let's do it. One of the suggestions I always have for people is go out and look at people's profiles. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter where they are. But go look at a bunch of profiles and you go, I like that one. Put your content in that format. Because there's all kinds of different ones and they work really well. And again, data is out there for you to tell you how effective your profile is. If you go to your home page, when it first comes up, over the right-hand side, and I'll show you this, it'll show you how many people have been looking at your profile. If you go, well, I got 2, or I've got 200. You go, wait a minute, something good is happening. And so data, pay attention to data. Data will tell you lots of stuff about how effective or ineffective your profile is. But write an engaging keyword summary. This is a great place to put keywords. One of the neat ways to find out what keywords are really relevant is go look at jobs. Go find jobs anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. It really doesn't matter because you're not actually going to apply for them yet. Just go find 10, 12, 15 of them in your profession, in what you want to do, and then take a look at them, print them off, highlight what are they looking for? What are the qualifications? What are the key skills? And you begin to look at, wait, they all seem to be asking for these 15 capabilities, and I got 12 of them. Holy mackerel, I better make sure they're sitting in my profile somewhere. At the same time, LinkedIn also provides you with this area to show your skill set, your areas of expertise. And I'll show you examples of that as well. But a good summary, long, short. I tend to write like a lot of white space, make it easy to read. People are scanning. You see key areas, key words, key phrases. That's what people are going to zero in on. Add skills and expertise. Get connections to endorse the take. In skills and expertise, it's an interesting dynamic that's occurred. And I'm a perfect example of this. I'll show you my profile, my skill set, and whatnot. And again, what I look at is data. I look at what are the capabilities that are showing up in this individual's profile, what's beginning to cluster near the top. Because the more endorsements you get, it's the law of large numbers. The more you get, the truth will begin to rise, and you go, yeah, I know this person, they really are good at those things. As I said, I'm a good example of how sometimes this endorsement thing, you gotta go, where did that come from? One of my friends that I did some work with years ago must have thought I'm really good at conflict management. I have no idea why. But he put it out there as, I'd like to add this to your profile. And I didn't at that time accept or deny it, but somehow it shows up on my public profile, conflict management. And all of a sudden I got lots of people endorsing me for conflict management. I'm going, how they would know that? Because I've never been formally trained. You know, it's like, why can't we all just get along? It usually works. But it's like suddenly there's this thing out there and it's showing up on my skill set. And I'm going, all right, if people think I'm good at it, maybe I am. I'm not exactly sure why, but so it's sitting there and I kind of go, the concern I have is a lot of people say, oh yeah, he's really good at that, and all of a sudden it's really going to rise to the top, and that's not who I am, nor is that who I want to be known as. And so if that begins to happen, I got to go find other people who can endorse some of the other things to help those other capabilities. But there's also, in the normal default, what you end up with in the profile is the summary, then your experience, and then further down, you've got the expertise and skills. There's a way you can just take that and put it right up near the top. Again, this is my view, but you've got to be happy with your profile. You can leave it where it is, and I'll show you an example of, I love showing Reid Hoffman's profile. Anybody know who Reid Hoffman is? He is the founder of LinkedIn. He's got both a very cool profile and one that I think just sucks. And yet he's the founder of LinkedIn. I do not know him. I hope I get to meet him sometime. It'd be interesting to see his reaction when I give him feedback on his profile. But, you know, so that you have to make, just like your resume, I can give you all the best advice in the world on resumes. And you go, I don't like it. This is what I like. You go, that's what we're going. So again, data will tell you, are you getting hits? Are people looking at it? How many? How often? When? All of those different things. But having identified skills and expertise, important stuff. Connect with others strategically. The purpose of LinkedIn is to get into a conversation. Yes?
The last one. So I know people endorse your skills and they just get a pop-up, but how do you get them to endorse your skills? So if they don't do it by themselves, can you ask them?
Sure. What I would suggest is with people you know really well, you say, look, I'm building my profile, I've populated with these skills, you know me, you know we've done work in this space, you know my background, so would you please endorse those skills?
So you just message them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But most of the time what happens though is your connections, when they go into LinkedIn, they'll go, oh look, there's Bob, he's doing that stuff. Oh, quick, I'll endorse that because I like Bob. Yes?
That's like a change. You get not change because you endorse someone, you endorse back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But here's the other thing that I end up doing. LinkedIn is about making connections and getting into a conversation. So believe it or not, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. If somebody endorses me, I shoot them a quick note. Thanks for the endorsement. I really do appreciate it. Hope all is well. Let me know if I can help. Okay. Short, sweet. Actually, I have it in a Word document, so I copy and pasted it. It doesn't take that long anymore. But you find shortcuts for those kind of things. But it's about staying connected. That's a really nice way of staying connected to people. Somebody endorses you, say thanks. Appreciate it. If you can, endorse them back for something. Even more so, yeah, it's number 10. I'm going to jump ahead. Get recommendations. Recommendations are different than endorsements. Endorsements simply say, I believe that Bob is good at X. A recommendation is, I've worked with Bob doing these kinds of things. Let me tell you about the experience I had on work. They complement each other, but they are different. They require different steps. The point about connecting with others strategically, there are times when I get invitations from people, and it happens actually more often than not, where it's somebody that I don't know that just sends me a LinkedIn invitation. And I think it's the next one. So I'm actually going to pop up to number 7 as well. They go, go hand in hand. I have a cardinal rule. I believe LinkedIn is about finding people, connecting with people, getting into a conversation. Supporting that cardinal rule, or that philosophy is this cardinal rule. Don't ever, ever, ever send the default invitation. You connect to Bob. There's somebody I'd like to add to my professional network. I get those, you know what my reaction is? Gee, that's swell. Why? Why should I care? And so what I want you to do, and I want everybody to do, and I yell at the MBAs when they come, it is a lot of fun telling an MBA that I really enjoy that part of my job. Always craft a nicely worded invitation. Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for coming and presenting in class at the workshop today. Really enjoyed it. Got a lot of things out of it. Please accept my invitation. I hit accept. What happens is when I get that, if somebody I'd like to add to my professional network invitation, first I go and look at their profile. Do I know them? There are times I know people. I go, for example, I got one today. I spent a long time at the Harvard. And a fellow that I kind of vaguely remembered from my time at the Harvard sent me one of those. You're somebody I'd like to add to my professional network. And I went, all right, we do have some common linkage here. We have some common experiences. So I hit accept. And I shoot him back a note immediately. Thanks for the invitation, Tom. Is there anything, hope all is well. Is there anything I can do for you right now? Oftentimes that's what I will do as well. And it's because it's about connecting. And it's about staying connected. Short, sweet, to the point. Thanks, I really appreciate the invitation. Thanks, I really appreciate the endorsement. Is there anything I can do for you right now? Hope all is well. Thank you. It's about staying connected. Now, again, one of the things, so it talks about connecting with others strategically. One of the easiest ways to connect with people, what are the easiest ways to connect with people? People you already know. Right? You could email, you could connect everybody in this room right now because you know each other, right? That's easy. Generally, if I know you really well, and you send me one of those, all right, yeah, sure, I'll hit accept, no big deal. But if you don't know somebody, but you'd like to connect with them, there's a reason behind that. Tell them, I see that you graduated from the School of Engineering in 1985. Please accept my invitation. I would love to find out more about you, your background, and the organization you work in. So here's the connection, University of Connecticut. So I'm going to show you how to do the alumni stuff, which is really cool. That's where I need everybody's swear seats. Two is let them know why. You're looking for advice, suggestions, announcements, or whatever it might be. And is there anything I can do for you? That's when somebody over here said networking. Networking, yeah. One of the interesting things about networking, LinkedIn is an incredibly powerful tool for helping you build your network. You all have multiple networks, by the way. Bless you. You all have multiple networks. This is a network. You have networks of people that you know from home, people you know from your neighborhood, people that you're going to meet but you haven't met yet. All of these are networks, right? So the idea when you're networking is to find advice and counsel and suggestions leading towards that really good job. What's the one question you never ask in a networking conversation? Have you got a job for me? Why do you never ask that question? It's a yes or no question. And most of the time the answer is no. End of conversation. I don't like networking meetings. So it's advice and counsel and suggestions. And so the idea behind this is it's not just about you in these moments. That reinforces the notion about when you're talking to people, when you're connecting with people, ask, tell them the connection, tell them the common linkage, tell them the purpose of your reach out, get into a conversation, tell them thank you. Is there anything I can do for you? So be strategic about it. Now, it could very well be, because there's a methodology in LinkedIn, it's called pass-through invitation. It's like, hey Bob, I see you're connected to the CEO of, I'd really like to go work in that engineering firm. Would you be willing to pass through a connection for me? So it's a really cool feature. Now, I always suggest to people there's two ways of doing this. You can use the pass-through feature, in which I'd be able to add my comments. Yep, this guy's a really good guy. You'd like to know him. Yep, please accept his invitation. Get into the conversation. The other way you can do it is I'm happy to do that. Rather than a pass-through, let me shoot a note. He's going to be expecting your email invitation. Let me just set that up for you. Because it's about making connections. So there's a number of different ways that you can manage this. But be thoughtful and be strategic about how you do it. Just don't go willy-nilly and try to get 100, 200, 300, 500, 700,000, 200,000 followers or email connections because it won't work. Be thoughtful, to be strategic. Think about what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, and how you're going about doing it. Join some groups, because somebody over here, I think, was saying, yep, following companies. Join some groups. One of the things that improve your search engine optimization is when you are responding to groups and things like LinkedIn.